This is Jody Becker, and this week I will be introducing the issue of ethics and psychological distance in e-learning. At an international conference on e-learning, Kuldeep Nagi shared what some of the experts say about e-learning. He said that e-learning appears to hinge primarily on the trust and honesty of the targeted remote learners, and that the E in e-learning is mainly about exploration, experience, engagement, ease of use, and empowerment. Some questions I will answer in this presentation are: how do ethics affect e-learning? Why is cheating so common in online classes? And finally, can ethics be taught? According to Ted Brown, today's students have been raised in an era of decline in public morality, which involves scandal and corruptions. He also states that these events can affect a student's attitudes about what ethical behavior is. Ethics is about what should be done, or how one should behave, and the examples found in social media, as well as multiple incidents of scandal and corruption by public figures, does not necessarily teach good ethics. Another factor common in online classrooms is the lack of personal contact and the lack of control some students may feel in an online learning environment. Instructor feedback, as well as peer-led discussion, is a very important component in order to engage students in the e-learning process. E-learning, unfortunately, also provides more opportunities for academic fraud or cheating. Early patterns of academic fraud online include inappropriate assistance on tests, misuse and improper use of sources, disrespect for the work of others, breaches in computer ethics, a lack of adherence to copyright and copy protection, as well as disregard for academic regulation. In short, it's cheating. According to a NESI survey, over half of the students involved in e-learning admitted to some sort of academic fraud, and 27% said that they committed it very often. Another factor that may contribute to the prevalence of cheating online, beyond bad ethics, is the concept of psychological distance. So what is psychological distance? According to the Psychological Dictionary, psychological distance refers to the extent that an individual has removed themselves from involvement with others, and it also explains that this has nothing to do with location. Psychological distance is not a mental disorder, but rather a concept that e-teachers should consider when designing and participating in e-learning. So, how does psychological distance affect the e-learning environment, and why is it such a problem? According to Ted Brown, when we interact with others face-to-face, we get immediate feedback on inappropriate and unethical behaviors. In an asynchronous learning environment, where feedback is not as immediate as face-to-face interactions, there's a psychological distance created simply by time delay. When psychological distance is considered, using the internet in a way that may harm others seems less personal because we can't see or hear the person on the other end. It is ethically easier to commit academic fraud or cheat online than face-to-face because the student may feel more removed from the person or the situation in an online environment. The student may also feel that they are less responsible for the material that they publish. It is very important that instructors give feedback as soon as possible and encourage ethical behaviors when facilitating online learning. As educators, we are given an opportunity to teach far beyond the class material. But can we teach something as complex as good ethics? Well, yes. Ethics can be taught. It's proven that there are dramatic changes linked to how a person perceives society and what role they play in it. The extent of these changes has been found to be directly linked to how many years the student is in formal education. deliberate education of ethics has proven to be effective, and a person's behavior is influenced by moral perception and judgments. As educators, we have a massive impact on how a student develops morally and thus ethically. So if good ethics can be taught, then how can cheating be stopped? Cheating can be stopped through the process of instruction. Good ethical behavior can be taught and modeled by instructors and other educators. Nagy states that technology alone will not help in creating an ethical environment, and that it's the behavioral aspects of the students and the processes created in the learning environment. It's the process of learning that can teach ethics. In my opinion, it's better to focus on education and prevention rather than crisis management and punishment. So as educators, how do we do this? Well, we can teach and model good ethics. In the classroom, we have the opportunity to show and tell them what good ethics are. Some possible preventative methods suggested by Nagy include reviewing policies and incorporating those into the syllabus. We can teach students how to cite and quote in order to reduce plagiarism. We can differentiate between collaboration and dishonesty. We can make clear the policies and procedures of the institution that deal with ethical issues such as these. An awareness of what plagiarism is, how to avoid it, and what could happen if you don't, is foundational knowledge that all students should have regarding ethical behavior in online classes or any class. In summary, ethics affect e-learning because of the lack of positive ethical modeling in the public spotlight. It's influenced attitudes of what ethical behavior is. The lack of personal contact and the lack of control in e-learning environments can cause students to do their tasks improperly. E-learning also provides more possibilities for academic fraud that include cheating on exams, plagiarism, and a lack of adherence to basic academic regulations. Why is cheating so common in online classes? It's because of the phenomenon of psychological distance, which creates an atmosphere of learning where the student feels removed or less responsible for their actions. And ethics can be taught. So it is our responsibility as educators to teach and model good ethical behavior by incorporating expectations into the syllabus and reviewing ethical behavior in the virtual classroom. It has been proven that the extent to which ethical changes occur is associated with the number of years of formal education. I think that educators can actually teach ethics by focusing on education and prevention rather than crisis management and punishment. So thank you for listening to my presentation. I will look forward to continuing discussions with you in the forum below.